One of my fondest memories of visiting at my grandparents' house was going through my granny's picture box. It was just an old shoe box full of family photos, some black and white ones and some in color. It also had some old postcards and letters in it too that were sent to Granny throughout the years. She kept it hidden in her room. I believe her purpose for that was to keep all of us kids from tearing them or messing them up with our sticky hands. She said she kept meaning to put them in an album, but never seemed to have the time. You've got to understand that at Granny and Granddaddy's house, it seemed like there was always a big family get together of some sort going on. With 8 children, and I don't even know how many grandchildren at the time there were of us. You can just imagine there was always somebody having a birthday or getting married or something. It was just such moments as these that my cousin, Diane, and I would get our opportunity to sneak into Granny's room and pull down her box of pictures. Everybody was usually too busy to pay us any attention. We knew right where Granny kept her box of pictures. It was in her room on the top shelf of her closet, hidden under some boxes of shoes and hats that she wore to church. We'd close the bedroom door, hoping nobody would come looking for us, and we'd sit on the floor with Granny's box of pictures between us. We weren't allowed to sit on the bed. You didn't sit on a bed that had already been made. That was just understood back in those days. So we'd take the pictures out and we'd look at 'em one by one and ooh and ah over 'em. We didn't know who some of the people were, but when we came across an older one that we thought was one of our parents or an aunt or uncle, we'd giggle hysterically about it and talk about how different they look now. There was a picture of our grandparents when they were young on their wedding day. There were pictures of babies, just a huge variety of different pictures. There was an old picture of a soldier. It looked like from World War I by the look of the uniform and the boots he was wearing. We didn't know who it was, but on the back it read, "To Unive, so sad." Unive was our granny's name. Also, there was a black and white picture of a little girl in a white dress, laying in an open white wooden coffin. She looked like she was sleeping with her little hands folded across her chest. Her long dark hair was curled around her face. She looked to be about 3 or 4 years old. The picture was taken outside in a cemetery because you could see the bottom of the trees and men's feet and shoes that were standing near it. It was truly sad, but fascinated us. We wondered who the little girl was and why had she died so young. In those days, it was common for people to take photos of the deceased, even though it seems morbid now. We were very careful with the pictures, and we always put 'em back right where we found 'em. We never got caught or got into any trouble that I can remember. Somehow, looking back on it now, I believe Granny probably knew what we were up to, but in her sweet, gentle way, I think she chose to allow it. Years later, after Diane and I had families of our own, and after our granddaddy had passed away, we talked about going to Granny's house one day and spending the whole day with Granny and asking her who all the people in the pictures were. We asked her about it one day, and she said she'd love to have us come over and spend the day with her and go through her picture box any time we wanted to. But for some reason, in the next few weeks, we kept putting it off. Something else was always coming up. And then one day, it was too late. Our granny had unexpectedly passed away in her sleep. She had gone shopping with one of our aunts that day, and had gone to lay down and take a nap before dinner. She was 84 years old. We were devastated. Our granny was the sweetest, most gentlest person you'd ever meet. She loved telling us grandkids stories about the old days and her life growing up, and we loved listening to her. Well, now there's a box full of Granny's pictures sitting on a shelf, and still some of them, to this day, are unidentified. We missed that chance with our Granny to reminisce with her and her picture box, and we can't get it back. So if you have questions for your elders, ask them now. Don't put it off. Spend as much time with them as you possibly can, because God will want them back one day. I hope you enjoyed my story. Thank you for listening.